I'm not deep, don't wanna know what death is all about, but I need to know that if I die, that you'll be proud of me, and everything you hope that I would be. But God, please, how come you didn't tell me this before? I'm confident that I'm insecure. The crazy thing about music is that you're like writing these really personal things. And, the song that we came out with recently, I'm confident that I'm insecure. I say some crazy stuff in it. You kind of separate yourself from the song at a certain point, and then you bring it to someone else and you're able to put it out. But like it starts from this very intimate place.
From PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs
and WETA,
this is On Our Minds
with Bree
and James,
a podcast by teens for teens.
Because everyone deserves a place to feel heard.
Hey James, how are you doing?
What's up, Bree? I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm hanging on. We're in the thick of midterm season for me, but, like I said, I'm hanging on. I'm gonna be strong, and I'm gonna pull through.
We had an awesome conversation with Gracie and Clyde from the band Lawrence. Lawrence is an 8-piece pop soul band created by New York City natives and brother and sister duo Gracie and Clyde Lawrence. Lawrence has put out 3 successful albums and has performed on Jimmy Kimmel Live, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, The Today Show, and more. The song that you heard at the beginning of this episode was their recent single, I'm Confident That I'm Insecure.
I'm confident that I'm insecure.
I absolutely love that song. When it comes to the vocals, the production, the lyricism, I resonate with it so much. I didn't think a song could capture that weird niche feeling of being both confident and insecure at the same time, but it's just something about it that's just amazing. I am somewhat of a really big fan, I've come to learn. I love their other song called Do You Want to Do Nothing With Me?
Do you want to do nothing with me? Do you want to do nothing with me?
I just feel like Lawrence makes songs for everyone and for every emotion and for every feeling. But with that being said, let's take a listen to our conversation with Clyde and Gracie Lawrence.
It's really, really nice to meet you guys. I'm one of those fans who were like intrigued by the music at first, but kind of like fell in love after watching like the docuseries you guys have on YouTube.
I'm Gracie Lawrence.
I'm Clyde Lawrence.
We're siblings.
We've been playing music together since we were little kids. I was literally like...
So for Clyde, are there any artists that you particularly like enjoy listening to, and like why is that?
We love listening to music that we love, and a lot of it's the music that our parents played us from when we were kids. The Beatles, Stevie Wonder, Carole King, Motown generally. Jackson 5 is, like such a huge influence on us.
I love those artists too. I'm curious, what does music mean to you, Gracie?
I kind of think of music and movies and TV shows and acting and dancing and painting all as sort of the same thing, which is just falling under the umbrella of like storytelling. And speaking of our family, that's definitely something that like we've all really bonded over, and definitely something our dad talked about so much as when we were children was like this idea of storytelling being really important, or just like the through line between all art and life.
I love the song It's Not All About You, which definitely has that storytelling element.
What about you, Clyde? How do you decide what kind of music to make?
Sometimes I hear about bands or artists being like, oh, well, this is the kind of music I make, but like in my heart of hearts, like this is the music that I love listening to. Like this is what I'm really into. And I find that kind of sad sometimes, because you should be making the music that's like inspired by the music you really love. And we're very happy to have those things be kind of one and the same, which seems obvious, but I think when you get swept up into the machine of the pop music industry, it's probably not as common as it could be for a lot of other artists.
Yeah, no, I can definitely tell you guys like stick to like what you guys really enjoy. Like you guys don't really fall into that trap of like doing something for the sake of like doing it. Given that your father was like a filmmaker, does he kind of play a role in those like music videos that you guys shoot? Do you go like, "Yo, dad, check out what we shot. Like, what do you think about this?"
We incorporate like our whole family very often into what we're doing. Our mom's a dance teacher, our dad's a director. We have a little brother who's an amazing musician and writer himself. So we're kind of always like asking for their brains and their insight on what we're making.
Early in our career, our dad helped direct a couple of our first music videos. You know, he's in his own right a great filmmaker, but he had never done music videos, which are a whole different thing. So it's like everyone in our families kind of has fun, like stepping out of their comfort zone to give feedback.
And how has music, whether it be creating music or listening to music from your influences, impacted your mental health?
As a form of almost like therapy, and I know that Gracie does a similar thing, often find it enjoyable to write songs from like perspectives that are not my current reality, but that are personal to me. So, like, I will often write songs from my past or from like a hypothetical future. So, like, when I was in high school and I was feeling anxious about going to college, I wrote several songs from the perspective of me as a college student. Like, I wrote a song about the feeling of coming home. Sometimes I have an easier time doing that because it kind of lets your mind wander. I'm sure that we all do that. We imagine, oh, what's this going to be like? Oh, what's whatever going to be like? Sometimes it feels like a safe place to escape to like kind of use that as your outlet. It's also easier to take more creative liberties with like a hypothetical situation when you're writing about the exact reality that you're living in. There's maybe like overly a feeling of pressure to like do justice to all of the real details that are occurring.
Let's play another example of your music. Here's the song "Don't Lose Sight," which I personally love so much.
What about you, Gracie? How does making music impact your mental health?
Creating music has been such a huge part of sustaining my mental health. I think Clyde and I both write songs about real things that are going on in our lives. And then sometimes they change form and become less about something that really happened to us, but they start from a place of like, I just need to say this thing, you know, when I'm sitting in my room alone, that I'm like, the thought that at some point anyone would listen to them, I'm like, oh, I'm not even going to think about that. And then the crazy thing about music is that you're like writing these really personal things. And, you know, the song that we came out with recently, I'm confident that I'm insecure. I got to a certain point with it where I was like, wait, I kind of like this as a song. And then as I got older, I feel like I got more insecure and I was like, wait, but I'm like confident girl. And then I was like, but why am I like insecure girl now? And so I was trying to blend those two ideas and sort of grapple with the idea that you're not one end of the spectrum and like that you can definitely be both of those things at the exact same times.
I'm confident that I'm insecure. I just feel like that's a huge heavy hitter and such an intimate and vulnerable song. And I have been seeing it all over social media. How does it feel to see so many people on social media and just in general love and resonate with the song?
When I read some of the comments, I definitely think people relate to that feeling. I think also just the idea that in that video, that clip that seems to be going around, it's a bunch of different people singing that. It's men, it's women, it's different ages, it's different races, it's different backgrounds. It's a group of people that have come together and are singing this song together. It feels really awesome, not just as like, oh, this is good for our TikTok, but because I'm like, that's a thought I just had. And it's nice to know that other people feel that way too. And that I'm not like the only person feeling that way.
Let's go out with one more song. Here's Make a Move.
Make a move. Make a move. Make a move.
I really enjoyed that interview. I just really enjoyed hearing their thought processes, their influences, and their mental health and how music impacts them.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And the fact that they're a brother-sister duo also really stood out to me. I make music with my brother a lot. He plays the keyboards while I play the guitar. And so like I cannot imagine doing that with him, you know, every single day or like however long that is. I feel like one of us would get really sick of it, if not both of us.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can relate. Like I have mentioned before, do not have a singular musical bone in my body. Neither does my sister. We would not be able to make hit after hit like Lawrence.
No, I'm so glad we got this opportunity. And this conversation was actually in collaboration with the This Teenage Life podcast. If you want to hear a longer version of our conversation with This Teenage Life, head over to their podcast feed.
Another podcast you might be interested in is Ask Lisa, the psychology of parenting. Each week, psychologist Dr. Lisa D'Amour takes your mental health, teen life, and parenting questions. She's also been a guest on previous seasons of On Our Minds.
Each episode of Ask Lisa tackles a tough question about kids and teens. Like, what's the best way to help a kid with ADHD? Or, how do we help kids through divorce? It's geared towards a parent audience, but there's a lot of practical advice for teen listeners too. Here's their trailer.
So, what age does your child not want to hang out with you anymore?
Around 11.
11?
Yeah, it pretty much happens overnight.
I'm journalist Rita Ninen. I've covered everything from wars to the White House, but for me, the hardest job is parenting.
And I'm child psychologist Dr. Lisa D'Amour. Each week, I take your parenting questions on the Ask Lisa podcast. We cover everything from toddlers to college students, and we'll help you know what to do and when to worry.
Subscribe for free to Ask Lisa, the psychology of parenting, wherever you get your podcasts.
And to talk about what will be on our podcast feed, our next episode will be on masculinity. And I am so excited to talk about it. I feel like it is kind of under the radar when it comes to conversations about mental health and society and stuff like that. How about you, James?
It's definitely a conversation that we don't have a lot these days. I'm so excited meeting new students and hearing their stories on masculinity.
On Our Minds Season 4 is produced by Student Reporting Labs in collaboration with KUOW's RadioActive Youth Media.
Today's segments were produced by Associate Producer Jaylah Moore-Ross with help from lead podcast producer Briget Ganske.
And a big thank you to Molly, Evelyn, and all the teens at This Teenage Life for the conversation with Clyde and Gracie Lawrence.
This episode was edited and mixed by Alayna Ly. Approval and oversight by editorial director Marie Kusick and executive producer Leah Clapman.
Theme music by Joseph Broad.
If you or someone you know needs help, we have a list of resources at studentreportinglabs.org/mental health resources.